Good morning, everyone. I'm going to allow folks a couple seconds to come in to the main webinar from the waiting room, and then we'll go ahead and get started. I am recording this, and we will upload this to our YouTube page by the end of the week. It takes a little while to process and everything, and I believe the Q&A is on. If you have questions, drop those in the Q&A and we'll address those. I try to monitor them as I go through the webinar, but we may just hold off and do all those at the end. That's kind of easier to keep my attention on the presentation. All right. Looks like everybody's in. And if there's any, it's always so weird doing these. If there's any technical issues, like you can't, if I say I'm sharing my screen and you can't see anything, feel free to drop that in the chat and give me a heads up. But we'll go ahead and get started. So today we are covering matches and challenges, as well as some of the BGCF prizes. I don't think that nonprofits can do prizes on their own. So we're going to cover adding matches and challenges to your profile, the BGCF provided matches, and then tips for securing your own matches and challenges to list on your profile as well. Okay, so you are allowed to and encouraged to add your own matches and challenges in addition to what BGCF provides during Bluegrass Gifts. This incentivizes donors to give because it means that their gift will have a greater impact. I think, oh yeah, the stat is down there. 80%, 84% of donors are more likely to give when their gift will be matched. This is a great opportunity to highlight your businesses that sponsor you, major donors, and then organizations with matching funds raise an average 4.5 times more than organizations without a match. So there are BGCF provided matches that we work with funds, fund holders, different partners that we have, but we really encourage you all to get your own matches. That just increases your likelihood for success. So I am going to start walking through how to add matches. I will go through these slides. So we're going to share the slides as well. Those will go out in the emails that we send out every Tuesday. I'll put these in today's email that hasn't gone out yet. So you'll have the slides and these screenshots, but then we'll do a quick demo on the site as well after we get through all this. So you're going to log into your Bluegrass Gives dashboard. So you're going to log into your profile, make sure you're editing Bluegrass Gives 2025. I don't know what it is. Make sure you're not adding things to like Good Giving Challenge 2024. So then you'll go to, we covered this in a webinar a couple weeks ago, sort of where you're adding your organization's information, your story, everything like that. It's down here below. So you're going to click Manage Matches and Challenges. Then you'll click Add Match to create a new matching opportunity, and that will show up on your Giving Day profile. So you need to add, these are the elements you need to think about adding: the name of the match, the description of the match, how much in matching funds are available, the ratio. So that's, is it dollar for dollar? Is it $2 for every dollar, $3 for every dollar? That would be amazing, right? But most common, I think, is dollar for dollar matches. And then you can add an image right there that will, you could add like, you could add a graphic that describes what the match is, but I would just say, like, if your sponsor has a logo or something, you could add that there. You can add more information about the sponsor. You could add their name. If you click this button, that will show the name publicly. You could have it anonymous or you could have it public. And then if you want to, you can link to their URL if they have a website or something like that. So this is important. You need to update the match parameters. So you can add a start time and an end time, and you can add things like maximum match per donation. So this means, okay, so I will kind of walk through this. If you add parameters to your match, like if you want to say it's only on Giving Tuesday, so that would start at 6 a.m. and Giving Tuesday, like the official start of the of Bluegrass Gives. That would be 6 a.m. on Tuesday, December 2nd, and then end at midnight that night. You need to realize though that that match won't show up on your profile until it is active. So you can BGCF's matches will not be starting during early giving. It's totally between you and your donor if you want to have your match start on early with early giving, then it would go ahead and show up on your site. And I'll kind of demo this and show you the differences. But you just need to keep that in mind. If you add now, like the start time is whenever now, it'll go ahead and show up on your profile. If you make that match start at 6 a.m. on Giving Tuesday, it won't show up yet. It will show up at 6 a.m. on Giving Tuesday. Does that make sense? So then that's just between all of your own matches are between you and your donor. So just whatever your donor wants to do, that's pretty much fine with us. The minimum donation threshold to match, I mean, I don't know that that's a required field. You could just put in $10 because that's the minimum donation during Bluegrass Gives. And then the maximum match per individual donation. So that means like a lot of our matches are like dollar for dollar, like up to $100 or $250. And that helps us keep that match around longer. You could have no maximum match per donation. So like if you had a donor who wanted to give you like, we'll just say $5,000 match. If you don't put a maximum match there, if you get a $5,000 gift, that could be sort of exhausted within one donation. But if you want to set a cap on how much can be matched, so dollar for dollar up to $100, then it would only match dollar for dollar up to $100. So just think about that. You don't have to do those parameters. That's up to you and what your donor would like to do. If you really want to encourage bigger gifts, you could have no maximum match for your donations, and you could see if you could wipe it out all at once. Sorry, my throat is tickling. I know the allergies are crazy right now. I'm sure I'm not alone in that. So pardon me. And then auto matching. If you check this, it will show in real time progress towards that match. Then it'll also show on your donations, like on the back end, you'll be able to see as donations come in. You'll if there's like $100 match, $100 gift that's matched to $100, you'll see $100 from the donor and then $100 that's like an offline donation that is that match. So that's up to you if you want to show real-time progress towards your match or if you don't. So if you show real-time progress, that will be added to your fundraising total. So we've had groups in the past who don't want to make it seem like they're doing better than they are. So because they don't want to discourage donors. I'm so sorry. Flip that. They don't want to discourage donors from giving, thinking, oh, well, they've already raised so much money, they don't need my gift, which is never the case. You could always use the donations, right? But if you would like to show momentum, if you would like to show that you are successful, I mean, you've secured those matches, and if you want to add them to your totals, that's totally a prerogative. And that may be something you want to talk to the donor about, or it may be something you just want to do. I typically find with us, donors usually will defer to you on what works best for your own fundraising. So again, that's just up to you on what you want to do. I'm just going to look. I don't see any questions yet. So we're just going to keep trudging along. And again, I'll show all this on the site. So then you can see here's an example of once you get everything plugged in, how it would sort of look. So you'd have the name of the match, the description, how much the total match is, and then how much is left. And so as donations would come in, I don't know if you can see my mouse here moving on the screen, but it would show like if you got a $25 gift that qualifies for the match, it would sort of show progress halfway through. And when it is met, It'll say like match met or something like that. Um, so that's up to you if you want to have auto matching. Um, if you want it to say match met, if you think you're going to meet the match, you could always add another match. Or I really don't think that there are donors who would not give because they see that they have a match met. Like they're still going to give to you, but it's totally up to you what you think your donors are going to do. So a match, just to differentiate between matches and challenges, a match um, provides matches as the gifts come in, right? A challenge sort of unlocks a gift. So this would be like if you have a donor who says, if you raise $10,000, I'll give you $10,000. So that would be more of a challenge. Some donors will give you the gifts no matter what, and that might be better suited as a match. But if you really want to create that like sort of stretch goal, maybe a challenge is better. Um, so you would go to that same place where you add the match, then you would click add challenge. And then same thing as before, challenge name, challenge description, and then the unlock amount. So that would be like, if you reach the goal, it will unlock a certain amount of money, and then that would be added to your total, added to your fundraising total. So again, you can add the sponsor name, you can make that public or anonymous, and then you can add a website for them. So then once again, you're going to set those details, the start time, the end time. And again, I believe that if it's set for, it starts like now, whenever you add it, it will show up on your profile. If you have it set for like Giving Tuesday at 6 a.m., that's when it would start. That's when it would be visible. And so this is a kind of a cool tool. You can set sort of a challenge type. It could be based on dollars raised. It can be based on the number of donors or the number of donations. So if you had a donor who said, I really want to encourage lots of little gifts. We really want to get new donors in the door. So you might do a donor challenge. So like if you get 100, that's kind of a lot, but 100 new donors, say, once you hit 100 donors, that would unlock that gift that they've promised to you. And then that would add that to your total. Does that make sense? Hopefully. And then you can see here, it's just the wording. It's a Giving Tuesday challenge. When you reach 10 donors, $50 will be unlocked. And that's your wording. You could add whatever you want there. And so then here you can see like on the match, it would be dollar amounts on the progress. And then here it would be donors. And just to clarify, you can see there's donors and donations. Donors is based on the donor's information. So like email addresses. It can tell if I went in and I gave 10 times with the same email address, that would show up as one donor. But if you did it based on donations, I went in and gave 10 times with the same email address, that would be 10 donations. So donor is based on some fields like email address, zip code. It's kind of like the billing information. So that's the difference there. So we're going to go ahead and jump into, I feel like this is going quickly, but I'm going to see if there's any questions. Yeah, I'm getting ready to go into the challenges, the BGCF matches and challenges. If you don't have a match lined up, for the most part, you'll still be eligible for the matches and prizes. Some are more specific, but this is, we have 232 organizations this year, which is amazing. It's the most we've ever had. Each year, I keep saying it's the most we've ever had. When I first started, we had 100 fewer. So it has grown by 100 organizations, which is amazing. But, that's just more groups vying for these matches and prizes. So we do really encourage you to secure your own matches. And I have some tips for that at the end. But first, we're going to go through the BGCF matches. And I think I need to go to the website. Excuse me. Let me get over here. All right. So right now, these are up on BG Gives. I would just encourage you. In the past, we've done printouts and things. We can still do that. I don't have that finalized yet. I don't have it even started. I'll be honest, because I've been plugging them into the site. We're trying to really simplify things and keep everything on the site. And I will say The website is the most up-to-date, will always be the most up-to-date version of matches. So we have some we're still working on, things may pop up. The site is always going to be the most up-to-date place to see these matches and challenges. Because if we do a PDF, then like, which version are you looking at? It's just really hard to keep track of. So I would encourage you just refer to this as a sort of a one-stop shop for all the matches and prizes. Don't know what. Okay, so we just have some rules down here. Kind of says we have over $500,000 in matches and prizes this year. This is the most up-to-date information on prizes and matches. They are subject to change, and all prize and matches are subject to verification. So even if we have real-time matching and prizes, like disclaimer, there's always a chance that if that donation fails, it could fail, donors sometimes dispute charges on their credit card. That happens. So this, in real time, it may not be set in stone. And donations are time stamped when processed on bluegrassgives.org based on the platform's clock. My computer has a clock, my phone has a clock, BG Get, like that, they're all different. So it's just timestamped based on that. We cannot go in and change the time of donations. And we are not going to go in, and we get this question every year. A donor like gives 5 minutes too early. Can they get a refund? No, we're not doing that. Like, they made a gift. We're not going in and manipulating all these timestamps and things like that. We actually cannot. There's no way to do that. To change the timestamps, and even if we could, we wouldn't. And then unique donations is that based on the donor. It's based on their, I think it's like zip code, email address, things like that. So I'm going to go through and cover all the BGCF matches and prizes, and then we'll kind of address some questions there. So the first match, my goal this year was to simplify everything, not just simplify in terms of duration of our giving event, but also ease, accessibility, understanding of the matches and prizes. So we used to have our matches and prizes stretched out over, when it was over a month and a half, and it would kind of stretch out throughout the event to keep people giving throughout the event. Now we're focused on one day. The goal is to have matches, dollar for dollar matches, match pools available from 6 a.m. to midnight, and then prizes peppered in throughout that time, so that even if a match pool may be over, we don't know. We can never predict what will happen, but it will always be a good time to give, because there will always be some sort of like random prize drawing that, it could boost the impact of that donation even further. So we really do try our best. And I think that in the past, it was more beneficial for organizations who had been in it many years, because they understood how all this works and things. So we just really want to make it easier for donors to understand, easier for the nonprofits to understand, sort of take that like expertise requirement sort of out of it. So, and all the matches and prizes, just to be clear, from BGCF are on Giving Tuesday. We really want to encourage giving on Giving Tuesday. It's up to you if you want to do matches and challenges, that kick off with early giving. That's your prerogative. For us, everything's on Giving Tuesday. So the first match pool that opens up is open to everybody. And if it's not open to everybody, you'll see in the criteria here. It is a dollar for dollar match on gifts up to $100. And that is a $25,000 match pool that goes from 6 a.m. to 8:59 a.m. And that's from the Bryant Fund. This is a fund at legacy fund at Bluegrass Community Foundation. And that is open to all 232 nonprofits participating. The other match pool that opens at 6 a.m. and that goes all day on Giving Tuesday is the Clark County Community Foundation match. They did things a little bit differently this year. And they had a grant sort of application. So again, this is a dollar for dollar match up to $10,000 per eligible nonprofit. So you can see here, it's pretty clear. And those organizations have to enter in a grant agreement with Clark County Community Foundation to only use those funds in Clark County. But so like these are the 15 organizations that are eligible for that match. And they've already been notified. If you have any questions about that, you can reach out to Haley Cunningham on our staff. So the next match pool that opens, this is a $100,000 match provided by the Marksbury Family Foundation. We're so grateful to them for this. And this will start at 9 a.m. And it is matching donations dollar for dollar on gifts up to $250. And that will go from 9 a.m. to just about noon on Giving Tuesday. Then at noon, we also have the James A. and Martha R. Brown Charitable Foundation match. That will kick off at noon that day, and that will sort of run till about 4. I should probably change that to 3:59 p.m. And then all of these are also until the pool is exhausted. So we just never know what can happen. So it could last until 4. It could go faster. We just don't know. But this is a $50,000 match pool that matches donations dollar for dollar on gifts up to $150. I would also say we never disclose exactly which gifts are matched. We also, it's really hard to give progress in real time, even if it may have like auto matching enabled, because like I said, you just don't know. And you can't even look at the home screen. And if it has like, how would I describe this? So if it has like $1 million in giving, you can't necessarily say, oh, well, that match is gone. Because what if people are giving thousands of dollars at a time? That doesn't necessarily, it's not a dollar for dollar gift on thousands of dollars. It's only on gifts up to that certain amount. So a portion of those donations are matched, but not all of them. So you can never really tell if the match is exhausted or not. There's just too much math in real time that we just really don't do. Also at 3 p.m., again, this is a legacy funded BGCF, and this is just for organizations in the arts and community categories. Those, because this donor, this fund holder, he really valued the arts, and this is a dollar for dollar match for nonprofits in those categories, and that's up to $100. And that is based on, we are using for that the criteria that you used when you registered. So you had to select a primary cause area, and that's what that is for. That's the information that we use. And okay, so then at 4 p.m., we have the Mason Investments Happy Hour. This goes from 4 to 6 p.m., and this matches donations dollar for dollar and gifts up to $100. And that's open to everybody. Again, because that doesn't have any sort of criteria there. Then at 6 p.m., we have the Outlaw State of Kind Hometown Fund Encore Match. This is Chris Stapleton. He was born in Lexington, raised in the area, and this is Hometown Fund. He is a fund holder, and this is matching dollar for dollar gifts up to $250. That will go from 6 p.m. until the pool is exhausted. It could be 11:59 or it could be earlier. Then we also have a match pool from the Knight Foundation. They have a donor advised fund at BGCF, and to help us celebrate 15 years of Bluegrass Gives, they have provided a $15,000 match during those final hours. This is like sort of a good night, used to be good giving. We said good night, good giving. Good night, Giving Tuesday match. So this is dollar for dollar on gifts up to $100. We also, now we're getting to some prizes. So these are the prizes that will be sort of going on all day. The easiest, we'll just go ahead and do the Groovolution. So from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. every hour, thanks to the Groovolution, we will randomly award prizes to donations that come in each hour. So we have a tool on the site that we can plug in like from 11 a.m. to 11:59 a.m. Any random donations that come in, we can we can select a gift randomly. And so those will be prizes of $1,011. And that donor really loves the number 11. So that's why we do that. So there'll be 11 prizes of that we do every hour on Giving Tuesday. Then the Mitchell Family Foundation, we sort of switched theirs up this year. They have left Lexington, but they still wanted to support Lexington and the causes that are important to them here. So they have a lot of different, we really tried to make it fun. They used to do a fast break challenge. We wanted to switch it up this year and keep more momentum going on throughout the day and just award those different prizes because everything switched up this year. So we have a tip-off prize. That will go to the very first donation at 6 a.m. on Giving Tuesday. We'll get a $1,000 boost. Then we have the starting five. This will be $1,000 each to the first five nonprofits with donations from 50 unique donors. So the first five nonprofits to reach 50 unique donors will get a $1,000 prize. Then we have an award that goes to the first five nonprofits to raise $10,000. We'll get a $1,000 prize. Then we have the halftime hustle. That will be for the nonprofit that raises the most dollars in that 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. hour, because that's halfway through Giving Tuesday. We also have a momentum builder prize that will be for small, medium, and large categories that receive the most unique donations. They each get a $1,000 prize. And these criteria, there's really no like set criteria on like what makes a small, medium, and large nonprofit, but I did some analysis on the different budget sizes that were reported during registration and tried to find some median, mean, median, mode, all that good stuff. Try to make, equal amounts of nonprofits in different categories and look for trends there. So that's what we came up with in our analysis. Then we also have the full court press prize for the nonprofit that brings in the most first-time donors throughout the giving day. The Lexington Love Award, this is for Lexington-based nonprofits that receive the most unique donors. That's a $1,000 prize. And because I did a lot of work in the equity space, we have a prize for a Black serving organization with the most unique donors. First-time flyer, a prize for the nonprofit participating in this event for the first time that raises the most in total dollars. A prize for a youth-focused nonprofit with the most unique donors during Bluegrass Gives. Prize for an education-focused nonprofit with the most unique donors during Bluegrass Gives. And again, that is based on those criteria, the categories that you selected at registration. And then this one just to, because those late hours, things can dwindle down. This is a Comeback Kids prize for the nonprofits in the small, medium, and large categories with the most donations during those last hours of Giving Tuesday. And then the buzzer beater bonus, a prize for the last nonprofit that receives a donation before we end at 11:59 p.m. So that's a lot going on there. So it's 25, it'll be 25,000 and $1,000 prizes. So those will likely not be added to the site on Giving Tuesday. Those will probably be added the following day because we'll have to do some analysis there. Some of those take a little bit more time. And the cool thing about the prizes, not the matches, of course, but the prizes, as we pick the prizes, they sort of populate here. I'm trying to think. Bluegrass, Kentucky Gives. If you look at their site, they're also on GiveGab. So on their matches and prizes tool, you can kind of see how it looks like once prizes are awarded. So there's a question that came in. Could a donor who wants to give several times on Giving Tuesday have each gift qualify for matches based on when they give and that funds are still available? So donor one gives $100 at 6 a.m. for a Bryant match, then $250 for a Marksberry. Yeah, so with each of those gifts, they want to say, so if a donor is giving multiple times on Giving Tuesday, could they qualify for all those different matches? The answer is yes. So we calculate unique donors based on the time frames of those matches. So it doesn't like you can't get multiple matches. Like, okay, how do I explain this? So if I'm giving at 6 a.m. and I give 3 times to the same organization, and those total gifts are over $100, which that would make sense. But if I gave $100 3 different times at 6 a.m., my first gift to that nonprofit would be the only one that's matched. but I could give again at 9 a.m. or at noon or at 6, and each time it could be matched. Because it's based on the criteria of unique donors is based on this criteria, like 6 to midnight. And then unique donors for like 9 to noon. So hopefully that answered that question. And then also if there's like, if you're in Clark County and you get a gift at 6 a.m., you're one of these 15, and then that gift also qualifies for this match, it would get both. So it'd be like two for $1. No, $2, 2 to 1. What did I just say? So I hope that clarifies that. And if you have your own match, that would also be matched, so you could triple dip even. It could be possible. So the unique donors is based on the criteria for each match or each prize, not for the whole thing. We also have, let me make sure we've done all those. Yep. We also have this Fidelity Charitable Fund. We had a grant from the Fidelity Charitable Catalyst grant. I don't know. And part of it was to encourage giving to Black serving nonprofits. And there's a whole 3 years worth of programming that we're doing for these. But we had a giving day in August. It was Give 828 Lex. And for those nonprofits that participated in Give 828 Lex that also signed up for Bluegrass Gives, they have a $300 match for each organization. That is a challenge, actually. So that's an example. If they raise $300, then they get $300 from Fidelity Charitable. And that's a $10,000 prize pool. And those organizations should know who they are. You shouldn't wonder if you're one of them. If they participated in Give 828 Lex. Or Giving Day in August. We also, this is coming, but we don't have the details of this yet. We're still working it out. Once again, Independence Bank is doing a human services prize. I have this criteria there. I'm going to have to edit that. And we're still working on those details. But it will be for nonprofits in the human services category in Fayette County. And there's some sort of prize drawing that we're going to be doing on Giving Tuesday. There are also, I have them plugged into the site, but they're not showing up here for some reason. Oh, because I have them as challenges. Nonprofits in Woodford County, Harrison County, Franklin County. It might just be those 3. Let's see. Clark County, Woodford, Harrison, Franklin. Yeah. Those nonprofits that are based there, there is a challenge that is being provided by those community funds. So like the Woodford County Community Fund, the Franklin County Community Fund, and the Harrison County Community Fund are providing basically a $250 challenge to those nonprofits. If they raise $250, they get a $250 prize or match or challenge or whatever, however you want to think about it, from those community funds, just as like to sort of refund them for their registration fee, things like that. I know that the Clark County Community Foundation is also awarding a $250 match to those nonprofits that were not selected for this match. They're getting a $250 match, so they're getting a little something as well. And then the final thing, we'll try to do our social media sweepstakes this year. It seems like every year they get hijacked by hackers. I'm trying to work on how to prevent that from happening. And we usually do a post on social media. There's been one every day, but because we're down to one day this year, I think we'll do one on Instagram, one on Facebook. And that's a way to support your favorite nonprofit without having to make a gift. If you can't make a $10 gift, you could do this. Share. There'll always be instructions. You have to follow us, and then you comment and share the post to be awarded that $500 prize. And we have a tool that we use to select those. So that's really fun. And I need to check with BGCF leadership, we might be able to also do some BGCF random prizes throughout the day, like every hour. I'm hoping that we're able to do that, even if it's something small, like $50 or $100. That makes it really fun. Last year, we also added little prizes for, like, if you came to the philanthropy party, we um, gave everybody $50 who came, and then we did a drawing for a bigger prize at that event. So I'm hopeful we'll do something like that. We just need to work out the numbers. So that is all the BGCF matches and prizes for now. As I said, this is always the best place to look on this site right here. If you go to bggives.org, it's right there on matches and prizes. So I tried to plan it out for the day. Dollar for dollar match pools start at 6 a.m. They go up until midnight. And then there's random prizes throughout the day. Well, some are random, some are not. But it's always, the goal is that it will always be a good time to give. I know it's different from years past. You had to be more strategic. And I really just want to encourage giving on Giving Tuesday. And this way, it's so much easier to communicate to your donors. Give on Giving Tuesday at Bluegrass Gives at bggives.org. It should really help simplify that message. And if you want to say, yeah, give at 6 a.m. or noon or, 6 or 6 p.m., maybe you can do that. But this way, it's not as hard to figure out how to do it, and how to take advantage of those matches. Are there any questions about these matches and prizes that were lined up from BGCF? Oh, okay. So I will go through and demo how to add your own matches and prizes and matches and challenges. I don't think you can do challenges. Matches, prizes. Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna keep saying the wrong things. So I will demo this on Bluegrass Community Foundation's profile. We have a profile on BG Gives because we end up receiving the final payout and then we make the grant checks to you. We do not fundraise for ourselves. We do not make, we do not accept donations to ourselves during Bluegrass Gives. We do have this, I think it's not, we weren't able to pin it. This is basically another match that is available if people give to Love Them All, and it's an optional $10 add-on donation at checkout. We split that pool equally among all the nonprofits participating. So that's just an additional match that you'll have added to your final gift. We never know how much it is until the end, right? People really liked it last year. I think it probably got, can't remember exactly, maybe close to 3,000 total in fundraising. And then we just divide that equally we'll just divide that number by 232 and add that to your check. So that's another little match pool that we have. But BGCF doesn't get donations. We just have it here and then we'll hide it once donations are live. So, okay. Just to be clear, so when you log into your platform, your dashboard, sorry, you would log into Bluegrass Gives, and when you go home, I guess you would only see this here. But if you see this is when I was saying you need to make sure you're editing Bluegrass Gives and not Good Giving Challenge 24, because you can still make edits to that, but it won't do you any good. So make sure you're editing Bluegrass Gives there. Right? Because if you went here and just hit manage organization, you can edit this information, but that won't show up on the site. So you're going to go into Bluegrass Gives. And then down here, donation tools, manage matches and challenges. So here is where you can add a match. So I'm going to just say test match, and description, test match for matches webinar. We'll say matching funds available. We'll say $10,000. We had a great donor there. And then test sponsor So you would click that to show the name publicly, and I can I'll keep it unchecked, and then we can view it, and then we can go back and see the difference. I've never really added those there. Okay, so this is also the thing I'm not going to do at first, so then we can see the difference. Start time, I'm not going to put anything there. And then here, and end time, that's also going to be blank. We'll say, whatever, it doesn't matter. Save. Now let's look at, oh my gosh. I want to view my profile. View your profile. So you can see here, wow, I forgot to take all that stuff off after the last webinar. Okay, so you can see here, because I did not set that start time, it shows up now. So this is and because I did not click display name publicly, it says anonymous, test match for matches webinar. Okay, so now if I go in, display donor name publicly, and then save, it should, of course, now it's going to be, sometimes it can take a second too. So don't, well, of course it's not updating right away. Make me look silly. So we'll do this. So then I'll show you if if you have it set for 6 a.m. on, I think you have to put in the end time. Also keep in mind, you can have your matches set to end. You can put in no start and end time. If you put in a start and end time, if you want it to start on Giving Tuesday, if you have the end time as Friday, you could have the end time as Friday, because remember, we're keeping the site open for donations through Friday. So it says it was saved. I think it will. Now, see, it doesn't show up because I set that start time as not right now. Later. So so now we'll save and we'll go back here. It's just showing, it's just proving me wrong, isn't it? All right. We'll come back to that. It might take a second to populate. And then we'll do the same with the challenge. So we're going to add a test challenge for webinar. We'll unlock $10,000. Test sponsor. And then we're going to go ahead and start out with keeping this public. We won't have a start time. So again, this is where you can say donation challenge, 1,000 donations. That won't happen. Start time can't be blank. Okay, so we could just start that now. On that one, I guess it can't be blank. That's interesting. Okay. Why doesn't the challenge show up there? I don't know why. I'm gonna have to follow up and see why the challenges don't show up. Oh, because it's not 12 p.m. yet. Let's do 6 a.m. so we can see if that shows up. And you can feel free if you want to, you can feel free, like play around with this as I'm doing now. You can always delete them, which I will be doing as soon as we're done here. But you can, if you don't want it to be live now, you can go ahead and you can create it and then hide it later, just so that you want to see what it looks like. I don't know where those challenges end up showing up. I don't know why that's not showing up there. I'm going to explore that. Challenge criteria. Today's the 28th, right? Yeah, 6 a.m. Okay, well, oh, here we go. There it is. Sometimes it just takes a second to update, to populate on the website. So you can see here um, how those look. And yeah, as you get donations in, those will show progress towards those. All right. And then if you decide you don't like it, you can um, remove or archive, either way. Displayed anonymously. All right. So any questions about those? You can drop those in the Q&A. I will be deleting these after that, so don't worry. So I got a question about will you know which matches, prizes, challenges, etc. you benefit from in your letter that you get with your check. It will have outlined all that you so it'll be like a line item, so you'll have like total donations less any fees that we have to take out, and then it'll say like a lump sum from like the what's that first one, the Bryant Fund um match pool, like the lump sum that you will get. And then, the Marksbury Family Foundation match pool, you'll have a lump sum there of what you get. It won't have it like broken down by matches, by gifts, because we don't do that. But yes, you will see, and then it'll have a line on for like prizes, anything like that. So yeah, you'll get a letter with your check that outlines all that information. Um, let's see. I think that's all on the matches and challenges. So then you can see, I'll just do one thing. So you can see, again, I think I already did that, demonstrated how if you do it to start on Giving Tuesday, it goes away. Yeah, so you can see that went away. Okay, any questions? Oh, there's a question about, are participants required to follow BGCF on all socials to share matches and prizes on your socials? You don't have to, but to qualify, so we've always had the criteria for the social media sweepstakes be that you have to follow BGCF and then like the post and comment to tag the organization you would want to win. And the tool that I have found, so there's a tool that you can limit people who can comment on a post to people who follow the profile, follow the page. I'm gonna have to turn that on this year because we did a something like this. Oh, it was on Give 828 Lex. There's just bots out there that can track um posts that are getting a lot of traction and posts that might mention like prize or something like that. And so sometimes our posts like this have gotten hijacked, and they'll be like, they can create like a fake BGCF profile, and then they'll comment on every comment that says like, you won, go to this website to enter information, or like, we would never ask obviously for credit card information. We put the winner, like we add it to the nonprofit's prize total. There's never anything that the donor has to do after that. But just to we've never turned on that filter before that you have to follow us to comment on the post, but I do believe that this year we will be turning that on just to keep everybody safe. We want to protect, we don't want people getting scammed out there. So yeah, I mean, to see them, you can still follow us, and then we really encourage people. It's just one thing. It's a fun way to get people involved. It's an easy way for you to share the word about Bluegrass Gives as well, but it really does generate a lot of traffic. We just are trying to raise awareness about this event in every way possible, and that's just one way we do it. And so you can follow us and then turn on notifications so that you can see when that post goes live. I guess if you want to unfollow us after, that's your prerogative. I don't double check to make sure everybody's following us. But with that filter on, I can, when I choose the comment, I can filter out by who comments. I'm sorry, the tool we have can filter out people who follow us and who like the post and who commented. But this year I will filter out anybody who comments has to follow us just to protect everybody who tries to enter the contest. Because I don't want anyone getting their identities stolen or anything like that. It's just so annoying too, because it's just like such a positive thing. Like we're giving money away, and then they are just like trying to just truly hijack it and like ruin the fun for everyone. I think I've addressed these questions that come through. So I'm just keeping my eye over there. Okay, so be sure. Okay. Um, what do I have here? Going back to the presentation. Um, so one thing we wanted to talk about, I want to talk about additional, your own matches and prizes. Just some tips to have for like ideas to kind of get your creative juice flowing on that. Some resources you can look to help provide those matches. You can, if you, I don't know how involved your board is with your nonprofit and with your fundraising. I will say the nonprofits that are the most successful in Bluegrass Gives have really engaged boards. And I would encourage you, first of all, outside of matches and challenges, try to get 100% board participation in Bluegrass Gives by having them all commit to giving a gift during Bluegrass Gives. And then that helps them when they're spreading the word, they can say, yes, and I gave, right? And that just makes it more persuasive, I guess, to have, if your board believes in your cause and your mission and the reason you're participating in this, that will encourage other folks to give as well. What you could do in advance is get that board commitment, pull those resources, pull those donations, and then offer that up as a match. And you could even, title it as like, if it was BGCF, like the BGCF Board of Directors match pool or whatever, and then pool those donations. The donors, the board of directors will probably be making those gifts anyway, but it can really encourage those matches. Look to another opportunity. And so if it's not your board, if your board, get your board to do like a board match, pull those resources. Also get ideas from them. Maybe they have some folks who they think, hey, I have a connection with like this local business or this person that usually, is pretty charitable. Try to pull some resources, pull some ideas from your board for who to approach. And the matches don't have to be huge, right? Um, you can pull multiple matches into one. So if you wanted to list multiple sponsors, I think that would be possible and that would be fine. Or if you want to have a bunch going simultaneously, that's also fine. Or if one ends and you want to start another one, you can do however you want to do it, you can. I would also say look to past donors, whether through whether it was the Good Giving Challenge or outside of BGCF's Giving Day. If you have donors who typically make a good end of the year gift, maybe approach them and ask if they'd be willing to offer that as a match or a challenge to encourage other people to give and support your organization as well. And then, it could be a little bit of a stretch too. Like maybe they usually give like $2,000. Maybe ask if they would put up a $2,500 match. I think that's a good place to look. Also, looking to past sponsors of your organization. If you've had galas or luncheons or breakfasts or other events and you've had sponsors, that's a great way to say, hey, would you be willing to throw, end of the year, help us get more donations, help us raise awareness of our cause, reach out to those past sponsors of your organization. It doesn't have to be a huge amount to make a big difference, I think, for this, because like I said, people are more likely to give when there's a match. And so, yeah, and that will help you. That's a match that that goes to your organization, right? So there's also some good tools here. I added let's see. Let me go back there. We added, um, so again, these are the trainings. Sorry, I don't know why I'm on this. There is another webinar from Bonterra, excuse me, that you can just watch on demand. You can watch that. It's also about matches and challenges. I think that I incorporated most of those slides and screenshots into this, but you're welcome to watch that. Ours will, I will change this link to take you to the YouTube channel later this week. And then be sure you sign up for, we're doing sort of like office hours the next, every Tuesday after this. So be sure to sign up for that Zoom as well. There's lots of other good training videos here about how to engage your board, matches and challenges that might be the same. Um, content, but I'm not sure. So yeah, this is just really good resources just to look through. And then on the toolkit, we're getting a lot of questions about the graphics and downloads. I could have provided them to the site, but they were being real finicky about the sizes. And as we know, Instagram changed their dimensions. Facebook is that you can't really use the same graphics for both now. So I just linked to a Google Drive that has some things that you can download. I'm also working on Canva templates as well. So we'll start covering those like next Tuesday. I'm off topic here. Are there any other questions about matches and challenges that you want addressed today? What we've covered this morning. Otherwise, I think we're about to wrap up. The other thing that I really would encourage you to go to and just explore is the support center. So if you just, there are like, some really good just tools on these sites. If you have any question about anything, like there's so many times, like I got an email from somebody, how do I export my donor data? So, you know, these articles are really helpful. So you explore those if you need other ideas. But I feel like we're about done with today's topic. I will just keep rambling as long as I could go on all day. We get questions too from a lot of nonprofits. Um, I think there's a misperception that bigger nonprofits, and I don't know how you define bigger nonprofits do better than smaller nonprofits on Giving Tuesday and on Bluegrass Gives. I don't think that's the case. I really think there are some really small and scrappy nonprofits that do really well because they have a really engaged board, they have a really sound, strong strategy, and they implement that and they really just knock it out of the park. I don't think it's always based on organization size. That means you do well. There are really big organizations with really large budgets that do not raise much because they don't try. And we've had a lot of questions about, can we have matches? I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Can we have more matches for like small organizations? I would love to have a match for everybody up to, whatever amount. We just don't have the sponsorship, the buy-in yet. So I'm working on that. We're already looking about how we're going to continue to grow sponsorships for matches and prizes for next year. But if you, so I hear you. We're always working on it. And so we do have some prizes based on those categories this year. And so that's like a step towards, we hear you and we're trying to provide those. So just know, I get it, but I also I would not feel defeated. I would not go in feeling defeated saying, well, we're a small grassroots organization. We're not going to do as well. That's not true. That's not true at all. And if you have questions about specific strategies or anything, feel free to shoot me an email, give me a call. We can walk through things. And as I said, starting next Tuesday, it's going to be more office hours and that's set up as a Zoom. So we can ask questions, share ideas, things like that. So I'm really excited about offering those the next 4 Tuesdays. So take a look, dig into these matches and challenges and prizes that we've posted on the site. Um, Pretty much dollar for dollar match pools going on from 6 a.m. to midnight. Very exciting. And then there's almost always a prize or something that can be pulled every hour throughout the day. So we just really want to keep the momentum up. It's going to be easier to tell your donors, log on to BG Gives on Giving Tuesday and make a gift to us. So hope this was helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, again, feel free to shoot me an email, lauren@bgcf.org. And yeah, I think we'll go ahead and end today's webinar. And if you have any other questions, feel free to, you can always contact me offline. So, all right, I hope, just looking one more time, no more questions come in. So, all right, we'll talk to you all soon and see you next Tuesday if I don't talk to you before. Thank you.